Hello and welcome to Ilagan Whiteboard Fridays, where we look at various tax and compliance related issues in a user-friendly fashion. Today we will look at the new SEBI guidelines on angel funding. So SEBI has recently, a few weeks back, released a new set of guidelines which helps angel fund agencies or companies to be part of the SEBI prescribed alternate investment fund, that is AIF. Earlier only VCs were allowed to be part of it, but now SEBI has recognized angel investment. So there are a lot of pluses and minuses about this, and we'll talk about the same thing now. So some of the requirement is like the fund size has to be minimum 10 crore, and for others it is like VCs and all, it is like 20 crore and more. Minimum angel investor, so to be part of an angel fund, if you are investing, you have to invest a minimum of 25 lakh per investor. But the good thing is this 25 lakh can be spread over to a period of 3 years. So you need not give the whole amount upfront, but you need to commit minimum 25 lakh investor per investor. The investment size, that is the companies in which these fund invest, has to be a minimum of 50 lakhs and it cannot exceed 500 lakhs, or which is 5 crore. So these are some of the requirements to be part of the SEBI prescribed norms. The good thing is if you are a part of SEBI angel fund or AIF2 angel fund, then SEBI approved, then there is something called startup tax, which have of late not been talking about much, but there is a possibility that it could always crop back. So the good thing is if you are one of these companies, then if you are investing in a startup, then you follow a detailed valuation methodology and process, and then whatever premium you pay looks to be justifiable to the income tax authorities. So the company in which you are investing money, or the angel fund is investing money, need not pay a startup tax on the investment. But in all probabilities, this is more like a mini VC or a super angel kind of a fund. This is not truly an angel. So angels have actually been denoted, okay, you can reach out to someone who has the capacity to spare some money, also has some mentorship advantage and all. And you can take at a very bootstrap level, you can actually take some money and go to market or go to proof of concept. So those were the most of the requirements where the angel funds were actually being used by the startups in the past. Certain other problems, so the reporting and compliances for the angel funds has been increased. So since now you will be part of the SEBI approved, you need to report every 6 months which all companies you have been invested, what are the foreign exchange risks, what is the detailed valuation methodology you have used to arrive at those investments. All those details have now to be disclosed to SEBI. So it has been becoming more structured to be a SEBI approved angel fund. The one other disadvantage is, like if you start a fund, then if it is a close-ended fund, then you cannot get investors in between. And some other restrictions which this specifies, the company in which the angel funds invest money should be less than 3 years old. It should not. It should be an early stage investment. Third thing is, it should not, the company to which the funding is being made, so that is mostly to prevent abuse, should not have any connection to any industrial or corporate house which has a turnover of more than 300 crore. And one important thing is, the angel fund cannot invest into a company. Say if one of the investors in the angel fund is the family member of the startup in which the fund is trying to invest, then they cannot invest. So that means no investments can be made of which a family member is on the board of angels. Certain good things now, good things and bad things again. So now the fund manager also has to have a skin in the game. So they either need to bring in 50 lakh rupees or 2.5% of the whole fund size, whichever is lower, to be a fund manager of the angel fund. So which is good in a way, like so now the fund manager would be much more serious from investors' perspective. It would be much more serious, and it would allow the fund managers to make, it would force the fund manager to make sure that since their skin is also in the game, to derive more profits out of the investment. But the bad part is, in case if there is no angel fund in which an investor wants to be a fund manager, so you cannot actually go and hire professional fund manager. You need to have your skin in the game. Some other points. So to become an angel investor, there has been restrictions implemented. So things like you should either have an early stage investment experience, or you should have been into a top management position for at least 10 years, or you should be a serial entrepreneur. Those kind of restrictions has been brought in. And any investor who is going to be a part of the angel fund, they should have a minimum net asset of 2 crore or above. So even if you are a serial entrepreneur, or if you have worked for a large company in a top management position for 10 years and all, but if you don't have 2 crore as net worth, then you cannot be an investor. So that way some investors can be put out of the borderlines and they cannot be a part of the angel fund. So overall, in a way, if you look at these guidelines are here basically to make it much more structured, much more professional and all. But angel investments in India has been known for a little more unstructured way because they have been treated as angels, right? So you can actually approach anyone or any serial entrepreneur or anybody, any rich guy whom you think would be interested in an idea. Or even a lot of startup founders, after reaching to certain success, they keep angel investing into a lot of these companies. So that has been the primary nature of angel investments in India till now, up till now. So that unstructuredness is now going to be missing. So the companies have to be actually to take up advantage of startup tax thing. Companies need to be part of the SEBI approved angel fund, and if that is to be there, then there is a lot of reporting compliance that gets increased, and even there are hefty fees which is allowed to be continuing to be a part of the SEBI this thing. So like a couple of lakhs of rupees per year you need to pay. So overall, if you look, they are actually kind of a mini VCs or super angels kind of groups would come and go to or will take this route, which would actually help them to prevent the startup tax, to be little more formal in the whole process, to be little more transparent and justifiable. So that's it on the new guidelines on angel funding. Nothing much here which is actually going to do. I suppose the unstructured way of angel investments would continue the way they have been continuing till now. And these restrictions should not impact people who just want to go and help somebody with say 5 lakh, 10 lakh, 2 lakh, 20 lakh kind of investments and stuff. One good option for these unstructured angel investors could be to invest into companies where these structured angel investors are investing. So as part of that process, maybe if you are also interested, you can invest into early stage companies, and there you can actually escape startup tax as well, because if you are taking the same shares at the similar value, at the same valuation of what the structured angel funds are taking, then you have a point to justify to the tax authorities that this is the fair value and the startup tax should not be applicable. So that's one advantage that you can see out of the whole process. That's it on eLagan Whiteboard Friday today. Thanks for attending the same. Please feel free to drop us an email at support@elagan.com or check out our knowledge base at elagan.com/kb. Thank you.